the Mongo Shell, we first run the server specifying the DB path. Once we have the server running, we could next proceed to run the shell. We use Mongo to connect to the default or the server running at the default port 27017. Let's begin with some basic commands. So show DBS shows all the DBs in the database. Now use local specifies the DB which we wish to use, and DB returns the current database. Show collections shows the collections in the current database. Now we'll just have a look at what are the documents in that collection. So db.collectionName.find. The other option in lieu of using the dot operator is to specify it within square brackets, returns the same effect, or we could also specify it using db.collection, specify the name, startup log dot find. Now let's proceed with some more commands. Suppose you want to have a pretty print of the output, we just append .pretty to the find command, and you'll notice that the output has been properly formatted as against the case in the first find command without pretty. We have quite a few documents in this collection, so we just scan through all those documents, which is pretty printed. Okay, now the shell is a JavaScript terminal, so we could use commands, expressions, the way we use it in a JavaScript terminal. So we used variable k is equal to 20, and the variable has now been assigned the value 20. We next define a function, say test print, and we'll then run this function in the shell. So running the command, the function, we will see that it prints out hello world 5 times. Okay, the next thing we do is we load these commands from a file. So just like we ran those commands in the Mongo Shell, we could also load these commands, these expressions, these functions from a predefined file into the console. The code will then be available in the console for further use. So we create a file with the same contents that we earlier added to the Mongo Shell, and we now save it in a scripts folder as test.js. We then head back to the shell and we would run the command to load the script from the file. The command to load the script from the file is called load, and we have to specify the root to the directory holding the script file. So it returns the prompt saying that the script file has been loaded. We then proceed to run the script again. One thing that must have occurred to you is that we actually had test print already loaded earlier. So what we do is we log out of the shell and we load the file once again to verify for ourselves that it has been loaded from the file. So it again returns true. We can now proceed to run the script from the shell. So there we run it and it returns out the output. We could also load a script file at the time we run Mongo from the terminal. We'll next see how that is to be done. We create a new file here. With the test print function. So we define the function and we also want it to run. This is very useful when you have got standard scripts that you want to load when you load MongoDB. So we name the file test1.js and we will load and run the script file when we run the Mongo shell. So we exit out of the current shell and we run Mongo. And specify the script file that is to be loaded when it runs. So we specify the complete path to